Greetings, my name is Davina Vini, and today I will be presenting to you information on two pioneers in education. We will start with an introduction. We will then talk about Mary McLeod Bethune and her summary of life, her views on education, and examples of her influence on educational thinking. We will then talk about Gloria Ladson Billings and her summary of life, her views on education, and examples of her influence on educational thinking. We will then do a quick summary of the two. So, Mary McLeod Bethune and Gloria Ladson Billings both have influence over today's educational concepts and methods. Both are pioneers in education. Both are the reasons why people like me can stand in the classroom and teach other little kids, because these were both pioneers, especially for African American women. Mary McLeod Bethune. Mary McLeod Bethune was born in 1875. She was an influential African American educator, political leader, and civil rights activist. She was born in South Carolina, and she was the 15th of 17 children. She was an advocate for racial and gender equality, a leader in the civil rights movement, and Bethune founded the Daytona Normal and Industrial Institute for Negro Girls in Florida in 1904, which later merged with Cookman Institute and is now known as Bethune-Cookman University. She was a tireless advocate for racial and gender, serving as a leader in various organizations, including the National Association of Colored Women and National Youth Administration, which I speak on over here. So, views on education. Education was a powerful tool for empowerment and social progress. She emphasized the importance of accessible and quality education for all, regardless of race and gender. She was a leader, again, of various organizations such as the National Association of Colored Women and National Youth Administration. She was an advisor to several U.S. presidents. That's a big one. Several U.S. presidents concerning African Americans in education. She firmly believed in the transformative power of education to break down racial barriers and contribute to the overall advancement of society. Her dedication to education as a means of empowerment and social upliftment left a lasting impact on the African American community and the broader struggle of civil rights. How she influenced educational thinking. She put an emphasis on practical education. Bethune promoted a curriculum that focused on practical skills and vocational training. This approach aimed to prepare students, particularly African Americans, for economic self-sufficiency and success in the workforce. She also influenced inclusive education. Inclusive education, she was an advocate for inclusivity in education, believing that everyone, regardless of race and gender, should have access to quality learning opportunities. Her commitment to inclusivity has had a lasting impact on efforts to ensure equal educational opportunities for all. She also believed in community involvement in education. So she recognized the significance of community involvement in education. She actively engaged with communities, encouraging parents and local leaders to participate in the educational process. This perspective has influenced the concept of community-based education and the importance of collaboration between schools and their surrounding communities. She also advocated for educational leadership in schools. Her role in various national organizations showcased the importance of African American voices in shaping educational policies and practices. This has inspired subsequent generations to advocate for diverse leadership in the education sector. Gloria Ladson Billings. Gloria Ladson Billings is an esteemed education researcher and professor known for her work in critical multicultural education. She was born in 1947 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She earned her bachelor's degree from Wesleyan University in African American Studies. She then received her master's and PhD in curriculum instruction from Stanford University. Her views on education. She believes in multicultural education equality, a lot like Miss Bethune-Cookman. Scratch that. A lot like Miss Mary McLeod Bethune. So for her multicultural education equality, she believed that everybody should be able to get equal education, cultural relevant pedagogy. Ladson Billings introduced the concept of culturally relevant pedagogy, emphasizing the importance of incorporating students' cultural backgrounds into the learning process. She argues that education should be culturally affirming and inclusive to engage and empower students from diverse backgrounds. Critical pedagogy. She advocates for critical pedagogy, encouraging educators to challenge and question traditional power structures within education. This approach involves addressing social injustices and promoting critical thinking to empower students to become active and informed citizens. Educational equity. She is a vocal proponent of educational equity, pushing for policies and practices that ensure fair and just educational opportunities for all students, regardless of their background. She has been a prominent figure in discussion about narrowing achievement gaps and promoting equal access to quality education. Cultural competence. She emphasizes the importance of educators being culturally competent and aware. This involves understanding the cultural backgrounds of students, acknowledging their unique experiences, and creating a learning environment that respects and values diversity. How she influenced educational thinking. So, relevant pedagogy, or CRP, which is the pedagogical approach, encourages educators to incorporate students' cultural backgrounds into the curriculum. Challenging deficit perspectives, which is she challenged deficit perspectives that disproportionately focus on the shortcomings of students from marginalized communities. Instead, she encourages educators to recognize and build on the strengths and cultural assets that students bring to the classroom. Research on culturally relevant teaching. Through her research, she has provided empirical evidence supporting the effectiveness of culturally relevant teaching practices and improving student engagement and academic achievement. Advocacy for equity and social justice. She has been a prominent advocate for educational equity and social justice. Her work has influenced discussions around policy and practice, inspiring educators and policymakers to address systematic inequities within the education system. Teacher preparation programs. Her ideas have influenced teacher preparation programs, encouraging them to incorporate elements of culturally relevant pedagogy into their curriculum. This ensures that future educators are equipped with the knowledge and skills to create inclusive and culturally affirming learning environments. To summarize, both ladies are pioneers for education. Both push for equality in education, and both are trailblazers. But without Mary McLeod Bethune, there would be no Gloria Ladson Billings. Last piece about Miss Mary McLeod Bethune, who is the one who led the way for all of us. She was a trailblazer, an educator, a civil rights activist, and Black woman leader. She put her grassroots expertise at the service of her community with the view of creating a more inclusive and diverse narrative about the histories of the United States with Black women at the fore. Again, without her, there'd be no me. And today, that sums up my presentation on Pioneers in Education, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.